we're back with another epic drive which will see us travelling the states of Assam, West Bengal onto the most treacherous terrains in Sikkim, wherein we, together with Audi and the lovely Q5, will go to one of the highest motorable passes in the world and travel to 17,000 feet to check out one of the highest lakes in the world. To give you an idea of exactly why you should stay glued to your screens, we've prepared a small montage, so check it out.
Our journey together with Audi sees us drive to an elevation as high as 17,000 feet, braving sub-zero temperatures and perilous driving conditions. All in a bid to retrace the remnants of the old Silk Road that stretched between Tibet and India. From Kalimpong in West Bengal, right through the border pass of Nathula in Sikkim and on to Tibet. The route we zeroed in on took us to Gangtok first, then to Nathula and down the Zuluk switchbacks to Kalimpong. But before that, we made a few stops along the way. The heritage town of Kuch Behar in West Bengal is home to the Rajbari, or the Kuch Behar Palace. Drawing inspiration from London's Buckingham Palace, the Rajbari is the city's most prominent attraction. It houses a museum that preserves the history of the region and its culture. From here, Gangtok is around 240 kilometers away. Serving as an entry point to Nathula and Zuluk and North Sikkim, Gangtok at this time of the year is a busy place to be in. Gangtok has successfully established itself as a vacation spot. Drawing scores of tourists throughout the year. This was all too evident from the bustling streets packed with vehicles and people who were mostly tourists. Gangtok is also a great place for some street shopping. And trying out the local cuisine was a top priority for us. Apparently, it's more convenient to fit Nathula and Gangtok, which are both in Sikkim and fairly well connected, into the old Silk Road narrative. But in reality, it was Jelapla, which now remains closed to public, that was the busier cross-border pass through which commodities reached Kalimpong in the Darjeeling Hills. Our first destination after Gangtok was the Guru Dongma Lake, around 174 kilometers away in North Sikkim. Road conditions in North Sikkim proved to be most challenging, giving the Q5's Quattro AWD system a real workout. As everyone knows, distances can be deceptive in the mountains. So we had to break our journey with an overnight stop at Lachin. Being a sensitive zone, entry is restricted to the Guru Dongma Lake region. And all vehicles are required to return to the final checkpost before noon.
We've been driving now for 2 days from Gangtok up north into Sikkim, and we've come to the Guru Dongma Lake, very close to the Tibet border, and just behind me is the last army checkpost before we get into Tibet, and this is the only place where civilians can go. It's a beautiful landscape, although a little arid, and we've made it here together with Audi.
Nestled among the mountains at an elevation of 17,800 feet, the lake is one of the highest in the world and the second highest in India, behind Solamo, located not too far from Guru Dongma Lake. During the winter months, till about mid-May, the lake remains completely frozen. It is considered sacred by both Buddhists and Sikhs. According to Buddhist folklore, Guru Dongma is said to have been visited by Guru Padmasambhava on his way back from Tibet. Sikh folklore claims Guru Nanak Dev visited the lake in the 15th century upon his return from Tibet. Both tales are similar because both claim that the Gurus helped defreeze a portion of the frozen lake for use by locals. Once back in Gangtok, we shifted our focus towards the old Silk Route and started our journey retracing what remains of it. First on the agenda was Nathula. For the portion of the Silk Road between Tibet and India, the death knell was rung courtesy the Chinese occupation of Tibet and the Sino-Indian War of 1962, resulting in the closure of all points of entry and exit, like Nathula and Jalepla. Fast forward to 2006, talks between India and China did lead to Nathula being reopened, but it has now become more of a tourist attraction, with its gates leading into Tibet firmly shut to the general public. The low temperatures and cold winds didn't seem to be keeping tourists away, as the road to Nathula was packed with taxis ferrying people up to the border pass. A broken down truck made matters worse, leading to an hour-long delay. Mercifully though, the weather was on our side and we had clear skies. Unfortunately, here too filming is strictly prohibited, so we really can't show you the exact road leading into China. From 14,140 feet at Nathula, the old Silk Route, or what's left of it, descends towards Zuluk, past picturesque lakes like Sarathang and Elephant Lake. Getting a good view of the Zuluk switchbacks is not a straightforward task, as we discovered firsthand. Because of geographical and climatic reasons, the region, including Nathang Valley, by 2 p.m. is covered in thick clouds and visibility goes down dramatically. This occurrence, although quite fascinating, warranted a slight change in our schedule, forcing us to return the next morning. No complaints, however, as this afforded us the opportunity to catch a mesmerizing sunrise over the third highest peak in the world, Kanchenjunga. Changing hues of the snow-clad peaks as the sun inches over the horizon is quite a show. The kind that makes waking up at 3:30 in the morning and braving temperatures of -1 degree Celsius quite worth it.
We are on the old Tibet highway on the Silk Route. On my left is Nathang Valley, on my right are the Zuluk switchbacks, and behind me is one of the highest peaks in the world, Mount Kanchenjunga, which we can see on the other side of Sikkim. The temperature is dropped to below 0 degrees, the ground is covered in frost, and we are looking to an exciting drive ahead.
We can't think of any other stretch of road in India that looks quite as magnificent as the zigzag road. From Lungthung to Zuluk, spanning a little less than 17 kilometers, it houses 32 hairpin bends. Drive further down to Padmachan and you would have crossed well over 50 such turns. The Thambi and Ganik viewpoints give an incredible view of these switchbacks. This stretch was not only an integral part of the trade route but also finds mentions in accounts outlining the Mount Everest expeditions of mountaineer Captain George Mallory. He and his team took this very route during their 1921, 1922 and 1924 expeditions to scale Mount Everest. The purpose the road serves in its current form may have changed since the heydays of trade, but its commercial relevance remains intact with heavy tourist influx that these parts see. From the bottom of the switchbacks, Kalimpong is about 3 to 4 hours away. During the height of trade along these routes, Kalimpong played a central role, as is obvious from the fact that this route is referred to as the Lhasa-Kalimpong trade route. The quiet little hill station in West Bengal was once a bustling hub for businessmen during the mid-20th century. Wool was one of the major commodities coming in from Lhasa to Kalimpong. Its past is littered with interesting stories, and one such tale that we heard is that of the Kancha fitter. It is said that in the first half of the 20th century, the old Silk Road from Kalimpong to Lhasa was not fit for vehicular movement. However, there was demands for jeeps and maybe small trucks up on the Tibetan plateau amongst traders shuttling their wares in that region. And this gave birth to a rather primitive CKD operation. Jeeps, possibly Willys CJ3, which were imported to India at that time, were dismantled in Kalimpong and transported up the route to the Tibetan plateau, where they were reassembled and sold to traders. One of the few who possessed enough expertise to see through the entire process of taking vehicles apart and putting them back together was Deepak Subba's father. Known as the Kancha fitter, the elder Subba would travel with the convoy carrying the vehicle's body parts, engines, tires and all, making the long journey up to Jalepla. Kalimpong also found favour with the British as an alternative hill station to Darjeeling thanks to its temperate climate. The British presence gave birth to several educational institutions, with the most notable one being Dr. Graham's Homes, founded in the year 1900 by Reverend Dr. John Anderson Graham. It still functions, attracting students from all over the northeast. The compound is also home to a lovely church with its Gothic architecture lending the whole place a very European vibe. Following the fall of Tibet to the People's Republic of China, Tibetan Buddhist monks fleeing their home found refuge in Kalimpong. Established in 1976, the Durpin Monastery or Zongdog Palri Phobrang Gompa houses rare Buddhist scriptures dating back to the 13th Dalai Lama.
We've just crossed over into West Bengal from Sikkim as we head to the closing stages of our journey together with Audi, and what an incredible journey it has been. We've seen some amazing sights which have left us speechless. We've heard some brilliant stories of how people used to trade during olden times, and it has made us realize how evolved trade and motoring have become. But as much as we'd like to stay back and listen to more of these stories and take in more of these sights, it's time for us to head back.
Our quest to trace the remnants of the old Silk Route helped unearth fascinating stories and took us to historically significant sites. We did it in the comfort of a modern machine on wheels, and we can't even begin to imagine how tough it might have been 100 years ago for those involved in cross-border trade, braving the cold, making the difficult climb up to 14,000 feet and beyond. Trade may have throttled down from what it once used to be, but the places, the people and their stories have kept the legacy of the old Silk Route very much alive.